So, Nancy, my point is, is the Fed's credibility at stake? If it is, they need to do something to restore credibility. If not, they can stay low for long and keep taper the back burner for 2022. Looking at the body language of Fed officials, it doesn't seem like they're worried at all about Fed's credibility. They believe that they want an economy to run hot. They want to expand and extend the employment picture where all the discouraged workers come back to the labor force. They're not looking at narrow measures of employment. And inflation is a worry only in the very near term sense as far as the Fed is concerned. Market wants to challenge it, but I think from a Fed's reaction function perspective, Jackson Hole is still several months away. Fourth quarter is a good, 5, 6 months away. There's so much uncertainty about what's out there. There will be no major telegraphing of taper intentions in the near term, in my view.
But should there be, Taimur? I mean, that's the question we have, right? I mean, you heard Rick Reeder there talking about some distortions in the bond markets when it comes to their predictive power about where inflation is really headed. And I think that's the question people are dealing with today, because I hear you that right now they don't need to make a move. But I think the concern is that when it gets to that point, that perhaps you're looking at a bigger jolt to the market, and that could create a taper tantrum that is worse than it needs to be.
Nancy, there is no shortage of gauges available to figure out what the underlying inflation pressure in the U.S. is and how much of that is transitory versus how much of that is structural. So the distortion in the bond market is not helpful, but I don't think it is getting in the way of price discovery as far as where inflation is heading, as far as how to price bonds and gauging what the supply-demand scenario is. So I don't think that is a motivating factor for the Fed, that we need to sort of, make the bond market more efficient by reducing the amount of bonds we purchase. If the view is that the 120 billion a month rate is creating excess liquidity in the system, which is then going into a bubble, if you will, of asset prices, then it's an issue. I don't think there are too many Fed officials who are particularly worried about bubble risks right now. Unregulated markets like Bitcoin, that doesn't worry them. They can regulate that anytime they want. In the regulated side, whether it's the equity market, notwithstanding some froth in the tech side, there isn't any view that there is an outright bubble in the US stock market or the bond market, and that needs deflating through the means of tapering. So that's the thing. What would taper accomplish other than providing a signal that they are comfortable with the pace of expansion, they're happy about the way unemployment picture is improving? If they're happy, they'll taper. But again, would that stage be reached in the next 3-4 months? I'm skeptical.
Okay, that's interesting, Taimur. But on the flip side, so you're saying what will taper accomplish? That's one part of the story. But what would not tapering also accomplish? Because you are, putting out these bond purchases, 120 billion, that rate. This was a pandemic measure. And if the U.S. economy is seeing a recovery out of the pandemic, then do you really need that much bond buying in the system on a monthly basis? And, as you pointed out, the liquidity environment seems stable. So isn't it prudent to just say, let's scale back?
No, Tanvir, of course, you will taper when you have confidence in the durability and the quality of the recovery. Do we really have that much data available right now to sign off that the U.S. is on track to grow substantially above trend, not just this year? This year is a given. Everybody will grow above trend this year, but next year as well. And if that much data is not available and one cannot so confidently say, aren't we then running the risk of making the exact same mistake that was made in the aftermath of the GFC? See, central bankers today are all haunted by that, what is now seen as a mistake, which is that we tapered too early, we raised rates too early, we consolidated fiscally too early. So now you could argue if fiscal remains expansionary, maybe there is more room available for monetary to tighten things up without necessarily hurting the prospect of the economy. If indeed we get signals that large-scale fiscal measures that are being talked about in Capitol Hill will all get passed, and we're going to see trillions of dollars of support measures through the course of 2021-22, that will certainly be a motivating factor for the Fed to start talking about, not just talking about, but actually talking about tapering.